Yeah, let's get it. Welcome to another edition of No Pump Fake Sports. I'm your host, Passport T. Let's talk a little Clippers basketball. Man, I have a very, very interesting topic, man, today, man. I want to talk about the Clips versus the Heat in the finals. But before I get to that, I just want to share, a few things, a few thoughts I had about, the media, man. You have a lot of guys in the media that basically think they're Obi-Wan Kenobi, man. They playing Jedi mind tricks on everybody. They telling you that the Brooklyn Nets have it sold up in the East. They're going to knock Philly off. They're going to knock Atlanta off. They're going to kill the Heat. And they're going to go all the way to the championship. They've already sold this. You've heard it over the last couple weeks, man, in the media. And the same thing is going on out west as well. They telling you basically nobody need to show up. The Lakers got it done. They brought in Westbrook. AD is bulked up. LeBron is going to be back better than ever. They brought in Carmelo Anthony and all of these guys. But we'll start with the Nets, man. In my opinion, because I watched the playoffs last year, in my opinion, I don't think the Nets is as scary as everybody think they are. Yes, they a super dynamic team, man. That big three they have is basically unstoppable. But when they played the Milwaukee Bucks in the playoffs last year, the finals, I saw some things that I didn't like out of Brooklyn. PJ Tucker was able to disrupt a lot of things that they were doing offensively. And the same thing for Drew Holiday. Man, Drew was giving those guards problems. He was playing high-level defense against the Brooklyn Nets. And I saw some wrinkles in their squad. And, that made me think about it a little bit. And I saw that PJ Tucker ended up going down to the Heat. So I started to dig into the Heat's roster a little bit. And what I noticed is very similar to the Clippers. They have three things, man, that I like about the Heat. The first thing that jump out at you is they have serious defense. The defense is stellar. They have shooting, and they have a toughness about them. They just have that dog in them with Jimmy Butler, Markieff Morris, Bam. You could just tell, man, they have that toughness. So they're a serious squad. And even when healthy, even with Kyrie, I don't really believe Brooklyn is going to get past the Miami Heat. This is a different Miami Heat that played the Lakers in the bubble. Totally different team. But I just want to, share with you guys a few of their players. Man, these guys go 10 deep. But I'm going to name 8 of them. Of course, they got Bam. They got Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, Kyle Lowry, Markieff Morris, Oladipo, PJ Tucker, and Duncan Robinson. That's 8 deep right there. And you could fill in with a few other players, man. That team is 10 deep. And they have 8 really good players. So I expect them to be a serious threat, man, for the Brooklyn Nets. I look at Brooklyn as just being top heavy. That's a top heavy team. They got the big three, the best big three in the entire league. But what else? When those games, you get deep in those series and you get into game 6 and 7 and your stars have played heavy minutes. What else are you going to go to match up against the Miami Heat? That Heat has a serious team, man. And in my opinion of the big three, I think it's a big 2. And don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people might disagree with me. It's a big 2 in terms of Kyrie and KD. James Harden is a big, he's part of that big 3 as well. But James Harden is a fat, lazy dude, man. He doesn't really get in shape. He came, to Brooklyn last year, totally out of shape from Houston. And it cost them in the playoffs because his hamstring went out on him. It just cost the Nets, man. And when I seen him in the first 2 preseason game this year, I noticed, man, this dude do not take being in that gym and take his health and his physique very serious. He's in better shape than he was last year starting this preseason, but you could just tell, man, he just want to just hoop. He don't want to really invest in his body. He's not cut up. I don't know, man. Yeah, he got game, but when it's all on the line, man, you're going to have to tap into something else besides just your scoring. You know what I mean? Because everybody know you can't really play defense. And you're going to have to try to figure out how to get that energy from somewhere, man, to go up against players that you might meet in the playoffs that take their diet, they exercise, they just gym rats, take their game very serious. And I don't see that in James Harden. James Harden reminds me of a super, super talented guy. Everybody knows one, that you were in high school with that had all the talent in the world, but they were lazy and they just wasn't dedicated and they just didn't put 100% forward every single time. They'll give you 80% because in their mind, they feel like they can rely on their talent and their talent will supersede everything. But that's a big mistake for James Harden because everybody in the NBA has talent. What happened when you go up against a Kawhi Leonard and he's guarding you in the fourth quarter and you running out of gas and he's just getting started? Or Paul George or Justice Winslow, these big guards who take, being in shape very serious. So, I don't know, man. I think the Nets are top heavy. I think it's just my opinion. I feel like the Miami Heat's going to beat them if they both make it to the Eastern Conference Final. I see the Miami Heat beating that squad. You know what I mean? I like the Heat squad, man, from top to bottom. Like I said, they 10 deep. And they got tenacity, they got that defense, that toughness. And they got some shooters, some scorers, man. So, I give a big round of applause to the Heat, organization for what they did in the offseason. I think Jimmy Butler has finally got his team around him. And I think he's going to show the entire Eastern Conference what he's made of. Now, let's move over here to the West, man. The media did the same thing. They just basically looked at the brackets and penciled the Lakers in to the championship. But the one thing we know about sports in general, I don't care what sport it is, Father Time is undefeated. And the Lakers, man, they got a bunch of grandfathers on this squad. Man, you got guys 37 and almost 38 years old. You think you're going to beat Kawhi Leonard and you a 38-year-old dude? Like Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo is good and he's a Hall of Famer, but he's not the 28-year-old Carmelo or the 30-year-old Carmelo. This dude is 2 years from 40 years old. Come on, man. We got to be honest, man. I think Westbrook, of course, Westbrook is probably a Hall of Famer as well. But Westbrook plays his game and his game only. He's serious about his stats and how he looks on the basketball court. Have we ever seen him excel inside of a system? Not really. We've seen Westbrook play one-on-one basketball and he's looked phenomenal at times. But then at other times when he needed to be more of a team guy, his teams got knocked out of the playoffs. And he's not the youngest guy either. You know what I mean? He's older than Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. So, I just think the Lakers, man, are an old squad. They trying to, capture lightning in a bottle for one season to try to get LeBron his 5th ring. And I just don't think it's going to happen. I think the Clippers have the best chance at knocking them out. And of course, I'm a Clippers fan, but let's just be honest. Just look at the rosters. The Clippers squad goes 10 deep too. As a matter of fact, they might go 12 deep. Man, the Clippers squad has Nicholas Batum, Eric Bledsoe, the rookie man who I'm very high on, Brandon Boston Jr. They have Paul George, Serge Ibaka, Reggie Jackson, Luke Kennard, Kawhi Leonard, Terrence Mann, Justice Winslow, Ivica Zubac. Man, this team is deep. I didn't even get to the teams like, the rookie Jason Pressons, who's a very good guard, Jay Scrub. I didn't mention Marcus Morris yet. Man, this team is serious, man. Henry Giles is a good big man as a backup. Amir Coffey. I mean, the Clippers squad is deep. Yes, Kawhi is probably going to miss the majority of the season. But from all, the little press clippings and a lot of the rumors that's going around in LA is that Kawhi is going to come back this season. So even if he comes back playoff time, say a week or two before playoff time, and he get his footing up under him, it still makes the Clippers a much better team than the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't mean individual players. I'm talking about a team. It makes them much better than the Los Angeles Lakers. And you will see that come playoff time. Because there's nothing in this world, man, like a guy, knocking on the door 40 late in the fourth quarter, or you go to overtime and he's been playing heavy minutes all season. You're going to see that. That age is going to come out, man, in the playoffs. Like I said, and I'll repeat it again, you can't escape Father Time. He gets us all. I do not feel like I did when I was 25 years old now, period. It's just the truth, man. And I think the Lakers, they were grasping for straws. They went out and signed every guy that had a name. But what they don't really understand, it's a reason why them other teams let them players go. If Carmelo was still the Carmelo, why would the Trailblazers just let him walk? Why not give him a contract and keep him paired with Dame Lillard? If that was championship, material. Why did the Knicks let him go? Why have Westbrook been bouncing around over the last couple years? Because Westbrook is hard to play with, and teams know that. So we have to see how all this is going to work out with the Lakers. But in my opinion, the Clippers are going to knock the Lakers out. And I would even be willing to say that they probably, if they get Serge Ibaka back 100% and the whole squad, gel throughout the season, I would even go on record to say that the Clippers have beat the Lakers in the playoffs even without Kawhi Leonard. A lot of people are sleeping on this Clippers squad, man, just because Kawhi is not around. But this team is very good. And as soon as they, get that cohesiveness and they gel properly, you're going to see this. You're going to see the Clippers club, do some very, very nice thing in this upcoming season. And if I had to just put my finger on it, I think the Miami Heat will come out of the East. And I think if the Clippers get Kawhi Leonard back, the Clippers will come out of the West, and you'll see the Los Angeles Clippers versus the Miami Heat in the championship, in the finals. But hey, I could be a homer, and that's just my opinion. But that's really all I have on this take, man. You guys leave in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Hit that like button, the subscribe button, that bell icon so you can get all the notifications. And I'll see you guys on the next one, man. Peace. Passport T. Another edition of No Pump Fake Sports, and we out. Gone.